Okay, this session is called Your Digital Transformation Isn't Good Enough. And what I mean by that is, of course, when we compare our industry to industries beyond pharma, we're still a step behind the average, shall we say. And we put huge dollars, effort, energy, ideas, and somehow it's still a bit of a challenge. So thank you so much for joining me, panel. I'm going to ask each of you to introduce yourself as you answer the first question. And my first question is, why do we still call out digital as a separate thing? We don't call out phones or other channels separately. Should we even be calling out, all of you have either the word digital or multi-channel, omni-channel in your job title. Sorry, I mentioned the O word, the forbidden O word. Why? Do we still need to do that, and is that a smart way? So please introduce yourself and answer in whatever order you feel comfortable to answer in.
Oh, I like how everyone just turned their heads this direction.
Yes.
Hi.
We trust you, Audrey.
Apparently. Hello, I'm Audrey. I am with Novo. I am leading the omni-channel for the global rare disease team, activity, space. It's what I do. So the question is, digital, and should we be branding it and like advertising that now we're doing digital? Is that a thing that we should still talk about? I think in our space, it's kind of a funny thing because it's also saying that face-to-face is a channel. So we're encouraging all of it to come. That's where the omni, I guess that's a blacklist word. We don't say omni, is that a thing? We just call it customer engagement. But it's encouraging our teams to embrace every available opportunity to interact with their customers. Digital is one of them. Should we call it that? I don't see why not. I think it's also encouraging them to understand that face-to-face is in and of itself also a channel, and that these things all come together as part of the interaction, approach, relationship with your HCPs.
Do you think it's still going to be like this 3-5 years from now?
I mean, it would be beautiful if it wasn't. It would be beautiful if we understood, if our teams acted in a way where it was natural to, when they think about having a deeper, more intimate relationship, I hate that word, sorry, it just popped out, with their customers, that they go, well, obviously I'm gonna follow up. And how does my customer want me to follow up? Maybe it's an SMS, maybe it's an email, maybe it's I don't know, it's a high five, whatever. So that would be wonderful if they naturally started to go that direction rather than having to architect it into or engineer it into the interactions. But since we aren't totally there with all of our teams in a scaled way yet, I think the trigger consideration is you keep that conversation and keep, it's the trigger, it's the, get it started.
Go for it, Sarah.
You know, I really resonate with what you're saying, and I totally agree. And I think we're not there yet with digital because we haven't understood it. And if I look at all of us in the room and I look to the pharma field, as in, the pharma industry, we are a collective bunch of brilliant minds. We are very critical thinkers. We have doctors, we have pharmacists. We have such a level of intelligence. And if we can't understand digital, I think what I feel is that we seek to understand it and to solve it. But I think digital calls for a different, more agile approach. It calls for a more creative solution and being okay with the unknown. And
so you think it still should be separate because you get to play with different rules, therefore?
No, I don't actually think so. I think that we should be adaptive in our approach to it. Seek to understand it with curiosity, with an open mind, and as the woman from Lüneburg said, I can't pronounce her name. I've been practicing all lunch because I wanted to reference her, but seek to clarify and simplify. Oh, Sarah Christensen, Novartis.
Nataliya, I think you're about to say something.
Yes, Nataliya Andreychuk, Viseven. So very nice question. I think we have answered this, but like we separating and we highlighting things which are boiling, right? If we say personal, if we say digital, so it means we are still evolving in this topic. We are still very young. Like you are saying, like this afternoon, we are hearing very young again. So that means this is a burning topic still. We are very young in digital. That's why we rather separate it from our personal communication, like when we have face-to-face, right? So where we are maturing in this for, I don't know, thousands of years, we're seeing each other, while digital, we are still very young. That's why keeping in that way, we are also trying to mature in that way, in the way being digital, and I think we will be still pronouncing digital separately until we will mature enough. So this might be the case. 3-5 years.
I think it's sad, but probably true. Giorgio.
Hello everyone, I'm Giorgio. I lead medical digital at Viv Healthcare. And why are we still talking about digital? I would give it 2 reasons for me. One is a capability. I don't think there is a start or an end. It will constantly evolve. I'll dare to mention AI and Gen AI. It was nowhere 2 years ago, and now we all of a sudden need to develop a completely, or a slightly different new muscle to manage it. The second reason is I don't think we've been doing digital well. And therefore, we need to spend time solving for problems that should have been solved much earlier.
Can you outline what you think the gap is? Why haven't we done it well?
I'll give it a reason. For way too long, digital transformation has been led and tech-led rather than being user-led. I've seen way too many times digital transformation by the tech team, and unfortunately, the tech team doesn't understand what is the goal. Therefore, way too often don't really solve a problem. And I think that as an MSL, we spend 2 hours to practice code, still have many problems. And tech is not the problem there.
Do you think that, so a lot of us, you've brought up technology, a lot of us, of course, are investing in improving our digital maturity. We have been for some years now, and obviously it's taken a new level. A lot of us have invested in raising the maturity, particularly around AI. Is that not technology-led? I mean, okay, so I used to say something. I used to say Mark Zuckerberg would never have invented Facebook unless he was a geek in the first place. And the point of saying that was sometimes being a technologist allows you to rethink what is possible in terms of how we communicate, and we all know the impact of what he did. And I just want to know if sometimes being technology first actually does have a place.
He was a technologist and a user. He built it for himself. He was the first user.
I think there's something on what you're saying as well. And the question is, digital transformation, is it going far enough? And also, is digital a buzzword that we can kill now? There's not a black and white answer to it because it depends on your audience. It depends on where they are in their own maturity, and our audience is internal in this setting. Like, yes, we're developing solutions that are going to engage HCPs and maybe patients, depending on where you are in a market. But as like in the building space, in this operational scaling space, the customer is a sales rep, it's your marketeers, it's your medical teams. What is their maturity? So does digital prompt them or does digital bore them? And if that's the case, you need to tailor the conversation and tailor the journey around how they're engaging HCPs or developing HCP interactions, if you want to get on the strategic side of it, in order to meet them in whatever space of maturity they are, which is also where you come into the AI piece. Right now, it's triggering and it's exciting and it's like, okay, yeah, let's get into it. In a year and a half from now, we're all going to glaze over because we've been hearing it for 3 years now. But our medical teams might have a different idea about it because it's the new sexy thing. So it's, again, how we are looking at it to be compelling and then continue to evolve the story depending on your internal partners.
if I may to add here, completely agree, but I wouldn't put this the question which is technology first and we're lagging behind. So I would say like business people and tech people are two very different species and they were not living together very well, right? So this is the major problem. So, and whenever we are having these two breeds of people in the room, we cannot be really sure that they are even understanding each other. So, and they do not want to cross border, like tech people say like this all managerial and business maneuvers, they are not for them. And the business people, they say it's too tacky, I'm not touching it because it's not my field of expertise. And this is very, very much affects every deployment. And deployment, I mean here, not in tech term, deployment of AI, deployment of digital transformation, every deployment is affected because these two people, like two different types of people, they are not working together very well. And they won't until they do not understand the basics of knowledge of each other. Like business people to just commit to AI need to understand at their level the basics enough to trust it, right? So I can trust because I do understand how it functions. And tech people need to understand all the business challenges, at least on the high level, to be able to deploy.
To your point, very, very, very valid point. And also, as you said, Aubrey, you need to meet people where they are, and you need to generate the understanding and the buy-in from all stakeholders, wherever they may be. But I think we also need to make it concrete. What is the value? What is the impact for the business? Because without defining the value, without defining the impact, what I have seen is a tendency for the product life cycle or the platform life cycle to eventually fizzle out. So then we have to look and question our tactics and our KPIs. How do we embed value in digital and drive impact for whatever outcome, for whatever stakeholder? And I think this also, sometimes we get it right, and it's about a question of how we defining which ones are right.
Can I build on that? I guess I want to build on that value statement, and you mentioned storytelling, right? In the past, at least, I've seen way too often digital transformation, again, being focused very much on the technical capabilities of the new solution that is coming. And we might get a playbook that is 65 pages on all the new functionalities that are coming, and very lengthy emails, at least I definitely received those, where they're explaining what is coming, when it's coming, what I need to do. And the reality is that, and I'll share this, but each day I think we take over 35,000 decisions, 95% of which are taken by system one, which is our kind of innate, kind of habit-driven, fast decision-making system. 5% or less are actually taking them rationally. And we designed this digital transformation for system two, when the reality, most of the people are actually taking decision on the moment, right? So having a very clear storytelling kind of narrative with simple statements around why should I do it, what's the value for me, what I'm gonna see the benefit of, is critical, and we haven't spent enough time doing that.
So you brought up storytelling and behavioral science with your system 1 and 2 thinking. Whenever I meet pharma companies, I often talk to them in a room like this, and I ask people to put their hands up. Who in the room is a behavioral science expert? Who in the room would describe themselves as a storyteller? And at most, I get 1 or 2 hands in a room of 100 or more. Why? These things are not rocket science. Why? I also think game design is something, gamification, of course, we're familiar with, but no one, I would argue, there is probably less than the number of fingers on my hand of people who would describe themselves as a game expert working in the top 10 pharma companies combined. Why have we been so reluctant to actually invest in these very obvious things that you've all spoken about without being prompted by me or anyone else? You got there all on your own. Why aren't we investing in behavioral science, gamification, storytelling? Is there a good answer to that question?
Sometimes things show up when you need them. It seems obvious perhaps on the outside, but obvious doesn't always mean it's getting done. And in any kind of change management, any kind of transformation, you acquire the skills because you're in the moment of need. And you learn by doing, and sometimes it works, and sometimes it's painful, and then you pick yourself up, dust yourself off, and try again. So we're hearing storytelling is important. Was storytelling a part of digital transformation initially? Probably not. Probably it was a roadmap of like, just these people are gonna start moving on this, and then these people over here are gonna do that. And then whoever designed that roadmap completely forgot about a whole middle ground. The whole thing fell apart. So now we're back at part one, but we've lost our audience because they already did the work the first time, and the enthusiasm for adoption has dropped. And so we have to keep figuring it out. So that's when we discover storytelling. The second thing we discover is, and I love that you said this, it is the value. What is your why? And it's what's in it for me, why does this matter? And it's helping to hyper-focus the attention and the actions of our partners to get into that state of transformation, delivering the value. And then you get to start selling their stories as well, their successes. So I don't know if that answers your question. Your question was, why don't we invest in it? We don't invest in it because we didn't know we needed it until we started doing it.
How did we forget, when Beyonce releases her next single, do you think she focuses more on the channel or the content? Like, the
her
message
mood.
has been
I think
lost
she focuses
somehow.
on her mood. How did she feel in that moment? And then she writes a song, and then somebody gave her a great beat and a horse to ride on, and now she's a cowgirl. I think that it's what the moment brings you.
But we've lost that in Pharma.
Yeah.
Sorry, carry on. And by the way, we're going to come to the audience in just a second. I know there's a question over here. And, you're a popular bunch, aren't you?
Well,
okay, let's get some microphones going.
I'll just quickly answer it from a medical perspective. I'm a medical scientist, so I can speak from a medical side, because we grow up talking about data, and we let the data speak for us, so we don't feel comfortable going beyond the data. I give you the evidence. Why you don't believe me? It's there in front of you, right? But those are not muscles that we tend to use, at least in the medical space, storytelling and behavioral science, to not convince people, but to get people to do what they need to do.
If I may add, so with this, AI, and with our hands less, busy with all the routine tasks, we reinvented storytelling and even evolved in story making, where we can collaborate together and we can actually go both sides road, right? So that we are not only telling the story, we are creating the story together. And within AI, we have the totally new skills coming up for the story making. So we need to be more compassionate. We need to be more storytellers. We need to be more authors. We need to be everything to make sure we manage the new technology.
Can we make sure we get a microphone to Carlos? He's put his hand up in every panel so far, and he hasn't had the microphone yet. But any final comment, or should we go to audience?
My comment to that is, I think, we need to relate it again to, if you think about it, we all have our performance reviews at the end of the year, and you look back and you reflect, what have I done? What am I going to tell my boss or my manager, how have I succeeded? And if storytelling can't provide you with actionable results, then it's out. And what I do see, I think that we need to work more on the digital transformation, because I see brilliant, I work in an affiliate, I see brilliant global programs which are based on behavioral science, which are based on real tangible results, but marketing lacks the skill to understand, how can I take this and relate it to marketing KPIs? What's the patient growth going to be? And conversely, digital professionals go, I can make a great omni-channel campaign without really understanding the effects of marketing.
Okay, we had lots of hands up, so I'm going to do 3 at a time, if that's okay. I think there's a microphone that has been given to someone. Oh, there we go. Yes. Hi, Hannah. I don't think your microphone's working. Sorry.
Is that working?
Yeah.
Yeah. Ed Hudson from Create Health. Just really building on your point, it feels like marketing's not in this conversation at all. We're talking about channel, we're talking about digital, we're talking about transformation, we're talking about workflows, we're talking about data. it feels to me that surely it's communication, but where's marketing that? And if, or how can marketing prove itself, and how can storytelling prove itself? Or the FMCG industry wouldn't exist, and all of that storytelling and all of the power of other industries and their marketing, why doesn't that translate to pharma? And why are we sort of stuck on process and tech and not talking about marketing and content?
Thank you. One at the back as well. Thank you. No, it's you.
Is that me? Hello. Amanda Logue, AstraZeneca. It's kind of building on the conversation we've just had about storytelling and gamification, and also Audrey's comment about our internal digital maturity. And my question is, that's all well and good. We get to be digitally savvy, digitally mature, but is our healthcare ecosystem digitally mature to engage with us?
Thank you. Carlos.
Yeah, hi, Carlos. I'm not sure if it's a good thing I'm asking too many questions or not.
It's great.
So, yeah, I'm representing myself in those questions, okay? Nothing related to my company. You know, I have to do this disclaimer. It's a bit of a post-vegetarian lunch syndrome. So, my first question is, I'm not putting you out of your jobs, but do we really need functions in companies as digital director and omni-channel manager and omni-channel associate director manager? Or are these functions supposed to be within medical, commercial, like within the DNA of everyone working there because it's part of their job? Or do we need to silo it and then create more and more silos? And my second question is, I talk to experts on a monthly basis maybe. Never I got anyone telling me, oh, I miss your HCP portals. Or, oh, please send me more MTEs and RTEs. You know, these are my bread and butter every day. And still we claim that we know that the HCPs want AI and they want the Amazon experience. And if you forget the cancer therapy, it tells you, you left it in your basket. I don't know what we are expecting. But where are the insights coming from, apart from McKinsey and BCG, of course, but where are the insights coming from that we need to include AI and everything in everything? Instead of starting with the need, we're starting with the what instead of the why. We want to put the what in everything that we're doing and make everything digital. Sorry for the very long question.
Yeah. 4 questions for our panel all at once. Go for it.
I think following the post-lunch, I'm having a hard time remembering all questions at once. So if I sound a bit fragmented, what I want to answer to that is, do our communication efforts lead to another action which actually eventually leads to a sale or growth in numbers? That's what I want to see. If it doesn't, let's question it, let's get rid of it. So again, it's identifying the need and how it drives value and impact in the organization. And to your point, you're right. We shouldn't be here. We shouldn't be digital directors, and we still need you CEOs.
Thank you.
We shouldn't.
You're safe, Nataliya, don't worry.
We should be an organization, and maybe we in Pharma should be setting ourselves a goal. Within 5 years from now, our marketing teams, our medical teams will know enough about digital that our roles don't need to be here. Maybe, you know, now and then they'll go into McKinsey to get consultancy, but this is my belief as well. There shouldn't be an us versus them, digital versus other cross functions. And I believe if we were to really embed this in the cross functions, that's where we see the greatest. That's where we will see the greatest growth. Because at the end of the day, we are selling product, and the people who are working within those therapeutic areas know the most.
I'm very excited about that question, Carlos. I am like biting my tongue to just not like jump up and answer. Okay, so it's amazing that you've asked it, because it is the 3rd time today I've had that conversation, and that's just today, around our role. And truly, so by the way, Sarah and I just met today, but Sarah, because I agree, like, yes, doubling down on it. Wouldn't it, like, my ambition is make my role obsolete. It's embedding the mindset for how we engage customers into the functions that are building for the customer engagement. So medical starts to think about it in a different way, not popcorn engagements, but actually a story that they continue to tell, which then leads into the commercial team. So hi, back there, you asked where marketing is. Marketing is in the conversation all the time anyway. So we don't have to necessarily call them out, but is marketing also thinking about the story that they're telling to their customers? Are they thinking about how they're pulling that forward, how they are listening to their customers in order to continue engaging with valuable content and education? That's where the whole data piece comes in. That's where the whole platform piece comes in. The cross-functional, the sales enablement, all the pieces come in. And if all of those elements and functions have the mindset, my role doesn't need to exist, and I am happy for it. I will find something else to create. Cool. But all of those places then serve the HCPs and ultimately the patients in a much more impactful manner. So let's go back to that 5-year future. I'm on. Like, we'll go create something.
And just quickly, yes, we should be obsolete, but we're not, because again, digital is a constant evolution, and the reality is that those functions need to spend time engaging with medical, needs to spend time engaging with doctors. I can't see an MSL stepping out, taking 12 hours a week to do discovery, piloting, evaluation, measurements for a new tool, as an example. So completely see that point, but at the same time, I sit in the medical affairs organization. My line reports into the chief medical officer. I'm not in tech, I'm not in commercial. I'm part of medical affairs. I live and breathe what they're doing, but I'm doing what they can do, which is discovering, scouting, testing, piloting with them, and then handing over a product or a solution that works for them and serves them. Should I be there in 5 or 10 years' time? Hopefully not, but it depends. As I said, Gen AI was nowhere, and now half of my week is spent on Gen AI.
And from the agency perspective, we need also absolutely stop polluting the email boxes with the tons of emails.
Why are you looking at me when you're saying this, Nataliya?
Making sure we are taking care about absolutely how we can reuse, how we can be careful about messaging, how we can be really not overwhelming our HCPs and even patients with all this messaging. And this is where we will meet the digital and face-to-face, so that the one will be impacted another, and all of the channels and all the jobs will be connected, and this synergy will be born. So agencies are for that. So, but we're still in the journey. That's why we do still have a job.
Long may that continue. Time flies when we're having fun. I'm so sorry, we are out of time. Panel, thank you so much. Really appreciate it. Okay. Yeah, that conversation is one we could have for many hours.